Hello everyone. Name's Mia, 33, single, well, was at the time, and a cosmetologist with a knack for turning a plain Jane into a head turner. But this ain't about my day job, it's about how Alex strolled into my life. It all kicked off on a Thursday, your typical uneventful day, until Lily, my bestie since the sandbox days, hit me up with one of her bright ideas. Mia, you gotta meet this guy, she said, all buzzing with excitement. He's perfect for you. Now, Lily's idea of perfect and mine hadn't always lined up. Remember the vegan dude who owned a butcher shop? But she was adamant. Lil, I'm not in the mood for another fix-up flop. I shot back, but she wasn't having any of it. Trust me, Mia. Alex is different. Y'all will hit it off like a house on fire. She persisted, her voice a mix of hope and that annoying I know better tone. Fine, I relented. But if this goes south, you're buying me drinks for a month. Fast forward to Friday night, and there I was at this cozy little dive bar downtown, the kind with dim lighting and a jukebox stuck in the 80s. In walks Alex. First thing I noticed? The dude had a smile that could light up the room and a confidence that said he wasn't just any regular Joe. He spotted me and made his way over, that smile never wavering. Mia? I'm Alex. It's awesome to finally meet you, he said, his voice smooth, extending his hand. I shook it, feeling a weird jolt of something. Hey, Alex. Lily's told me, a lot about you. We got to talking, and damn, Lily might have actually gotten it right this time. Alex was funny in a dry, hit you when you least expect it kind of way, and he had stories that could keep you hooked for hours. Not to mention, the guy had a way of making you feel like you were the only person in the room. As the night wore on, the initial awkwardness melted away like ice cream on a hot sidewalk. We laughed, we bickered, in a playful way, and we shared bits and pieces of our lives. He was into marketing, but not the boring kind, as he put it. Wanted to start his own thing someday. Ambitious, I liked that. Lily wasn't kidding, huh? You really are something, he said at one point, his gaze a mix of admiration and something else I couldn't quite place. Oh, please, I scoffed, trying to play it cool. I'm just a girl who knows her way around a makeup bag. Nah, it's more than that. You've got this energy. It's infectious, he countered, his eyes locked on mine. The night ended with us exchanging numbers, and that promise of let's do this again sometime. Walking back to my car, I couldn't help but feel like maybe, just maybe, this wasn't gonna be another one for the disaster column. Alex had sparked something, a flicker of hope in my all but given up on love heart. I got home, tossed my keys on the kitchen counter, and found myself grinning like an idiot. I grabbed my phone and shot Lily a text. You might not be buying me drinks after all. After the buzz of that first night with Alex, things picked up speed faster than I ever imagined. Before I knew it, we were deep in that lovey-dovey phase where everything's roses, and you can't see any flaws in the other person. It's like you're wearing these rose-colored glasses, and even if someone told you they were tinted, you'd swear you were seeing clear as day. One day, out of the blue, while we were lounging around at my place, Alex popped a question that wasn't the question, but it was big enough to get the wheels turning. Mia, have you ever thought about us, like, really doing this? Like, getting a place together, making things official? I nearly choked on my coffee. Official, huh? Like, going to the city hall and signing papers official, or what? He laughed, that easy sound that always made me feel lighter. Yeah, something like that. I mean, I know we haven't been at this for a super long time, but when you know, right? I gotta admit, part of me was screaming. Slow down, girl. But another, louder part was all in, ready to dive headfirst into whatever this was with Alex. So, we started talking about it. Really talking. Not just the fluffy, surface-level stuff, but the nitty-gritty of what our future could look like. And that's when the topic of a prenup came up. Not from him, though. It was my mom who brought it down on us, like a ton of bricks one Sunday lunch. Mia, darling, I know you're head over heels and all that, but you need to think about this seriously. You've worked hard for what you have. A prenup is just common sense, she said, passing me the salad like she hadn't just dropped a bombshell on our roast chicken dinner. Alex nearly spit out his water. A prenup? Mrs. C, I don't want Mia's money. That's not what this is about. Mom raised an eyebrow, a look I knew all too well meant business. It's not about wanting or not wanting, Alex. It's about protecting what each of you brings to this partnership. It's practical, is all. The ride back to our place was a mix of silence and awkward coughs. Finally, I broke it. Look, Alex, she's not wrong. It's not about trust, really. It's more like insurance, you know? For both of us. He took a while, but then, yeah, I get it. It makes sense. Let's do it, if it'll make everyone chill. So, we got that prenup sorted. It was about as romantic as doing your taxes, but it felt like the responsible thing to do. With that out of the way, we started hunting for our dream home. And by dream, I mean something we could afford without selling a kidney. It took months, but we finally found it. A fixer-upper that had potential written all over it. Or maybe that was just the real estate agent trying to make a sale. Either way, we fell for it. Hard. Babe, this is it. I can feel it. We can tear down that ugly wall, open up the kitchen. It's gonna be epic, Alex said, his eyes lighting up as he talked about knocking down walls and ripping out carpets. I wasn't as handy, but his enthusiasm was contagious. Yeah, and maybe we can finally get that dog you've been yapping about. But, you know, after all the dust settles. He wrapped an arm around me, pulling me close as we stood in what could potentially be our living room. It's gonna be a lot of work, but we can do it. Together. Together, I echoed, not fully grasping just how much of an adventure we were embarking on. And so, we took the plunge. Bought the house, signed what felt like a million papers, and started dreaming of paint colors and furniture placements. It was exciting and terrifying all rolled into one. That's when Alex dropped the bomb. Babe, I've been thinking. I'm gonna quit my job to oversee the renovations full-time. You're killing it at work, and let's be honest, these contractors need someone to keep them in line, or they'll walk all over us. I nearly dropped the paint swatch I was holding. Quit your job? Alex, that's a huge decision. Don't you think you should have talked to me about it first? He shrugged, a bit too casually for my liking. I thought it'd be a surprise. Plus, it'll speed things up. We both want to move in ASAP, right? And don't worry, once the house is all set, I'll jump back into the job market. Promise. I was torn between being touched by his commitment and being frustrated at his unilateral decision-making. Alex, it's not just about speeding things up. We're a team, remember? Big decisions, we make them together. He nodded, suddenly looking more serious. You're right, Mia. I should have talked to you first. I just want to make our dream home perfect for us. But yeah, I promise, after this, I'll get back on the job wagon. The paint had barely dried on the walls of our not-so-humble abode by the time Alex was itching to throw a housewarming party. Gotta show off the fruits of our labor, he'd say, winking at me as he pictured the bash. I wasn't exactly on board at first, felt like our place was still a canvas a few brush strokes shy of a masterpiece. But Alex, with his never-ending well of optimism, was all in. So, we sent out the invites, including one to Lily and her husband, Jack, who had been my rock through more than a couple of rough patches. The day rolled around faster than I would have liked, and our living room was soon buzzing with the chatter and laughter of our closest friends, all eager to toast to our new beginning. Alex was in his element, charming the socks off everyone as he led tours of the house like some kind of real estate prodigy. And here, we knocked down a wall to create an open-concept living area. Really opens the place up, don't you think? He'd gesture broadly, a proud grin plastered on his face. I was mingling, doing my best to play the gracious host, when I caught Lily's eye. She sidled up to me, a mischievous glint in her gaze. Girl, you snagged yourself a real handyman, huh? Alex is all anyone can talk about. Jack's turning green over here. I laughed, shaking my head. Please, half the time, I was worried he'd knock down a load-bearing wall and bring the whole house down on us. That's when Jack joined us, his brow furrowed in a mock scowl. Seriously, Alex is making me look bad. What's next? He's gonna build you to a castle. Lily nudged him, her laughter light and easy. Oh, hush. I was just teasing. Though, Mia, your man's got a real knack for this stuff. I couldn't help but feel a twinge of awkwardness at the praise. Sure, Alex had put in the work, but it wasn't like I'd been sitting on the sidelines. And yet, here he was, soaking up all the glory as if he'd single-handedly transformed our fixer-upper into a palace. I brushed the feeling aside, attributing it to the stress of playing host. The party eventually wound down, and as the last guests trickled out, I found myself slumped on the couch, mentally and physically exhausted. Alex plopped down next to me, a satisfied sigh escaping his lips. What a night, huh? Everyone loved the house. We did good, babe. I turned to him, a forced smile on my face. Yeah, we did. Though, from the sound of it, you were the mastermind behind it all. He blinked, taken aback. Hey, I was just proud of what we've accomplished. Didn't mean to make it seem like it was all me. I wanted to believe him, to brush off the nagging doubt and revel in the success of our housewarming. But something about the evening had shifted my perspective, a subtle reminder that in this partnership, our contributions might not always be viewed through the same lens. Next time, just make sure you mention that we part a bit more, yeah? I said, half joking, half serious. Alex nodded, wrapping an arm around me. Of course, babe. It's you and me against the world, remember? As the days turned into weeks and then months, it seemed like Alex's job hunt was on permanent pause. Our life had settled into a routine, but not the kind you'd hoped for. He'd sleep in late, kill time on the computer, or hang out with friends while I was grinding away at the salon. Every now and then, if I made a comment about his laid-back lifestyle, he'd throw together dinner, like that was enough to balance the scales. Meanwhile, I was busting my tail, dreaming bigger. I had this vision of opening my own beauty salon. It wasn't just a dream, I had plans, ideas. I wanted it bad. So, I brought it up to Alex one evening, thinking maybe he'd see the spark in my eye and get on board. His reaction was like a bucket of cold water. A salon, Mia? You know we can't afford to gamble right now. Your job's stable. Why risk it? I stared at him, disbelief mixing with frustration. Gamble? Alex, when did you become so cautious? We've talked about this. It's my dream. He shrugged, a gesture that sent my blood boiling. Dreams are great, babe, but the repairs on the house went over. We're tight as it is. That was the last straw. I pulled up our bank statements, my heart sinking as I saw the numbers, or, more accurately, the lack thereof. Our account was bleeding out, and here he was, acting like it was just a scratch. Alex, look at this. Where did it all go? We're running on fumes here. My voice was sharper than I intended, but I was past caring. He had the decency to look sheepish, but it wasn't enough. I know. The repairs, they just added up. I didn't realize until it was too late. I was fuming. Added up? That's it? We need money, Alex. Real money. You need to get a job. Like, yesterday. Alex bristled, defensive. You think I'm not trying? Jobs aren't just falling out of the sky, Mia. Alex, when you said you'd look for a job, did that just mean browsing listings on your phone and then forgetting about it? My patience had evaporated, leaving raw frustration in its wake. The conversation ended with him promising, again, to get serious about job hunting. But promises were cheap, and our bank account wasn't getting any fuller. I couldn't wait around for him to get his act together, so I did what I had to do. I picked up a part-time gig at another cosmetology clinic, squeezing in hours before and after my regular job. Life has this funny way of throwing curveballs just when you think you've got the batting down pat. My routine was a well-oiled machine, work, more work, and the occasional dream-filled brainstorming session about my future salon. That is until something, or rather, someone, threw a wrench in the works. It was a regular Tuesday, or as regular as any could be in my whirlwind of a life, when I bumped into Lily downtown. She was all dolled up, sporting a brand new, eye-wateringly expensive handbag that screamed luxury from a mile away. "Lily, that's a pretty fancy bag you got there," I commented, half in awe, half curious. "New?" Lily glanced down at her bag like she'd forgotten it was there. "Oh, this old thing?" "Yeah, it was a gift from Jack," she said, her voice a tad too casual. Now, I knew Jack. He was more the beer at a burger type, not the splurge on designer handbags type. Something didn't add up. "Really? Jack bought you that? Looks pricier than his usual taste." She shifted uncomfortably, avoiding my gaze. "Well, you know, he wanted to surprise me. Said I deserved it." I nodded, but my mind was racing. Jack and Lily had been on rocky ground lately. A fancy bag out of the blue didn't fit the picture. I filed the inconsistency away for later and carried on with my day, but Lily's new accessory nagged at me like a splinter. Days passed, and the splinter only burrowed deeper. Alex's routine hadn't changed, still jobless, still seemingly content. But now, I was watching more closely, noticing things I hadn't before. Like how he'd become jumpy when I asked about his day, or the way he'd quickly close his laptop whenever I walked by. Then came the bombshell that blew my suspicions wide open. Checking our joint account online, I noticed several charges that made my heart sink: jewelry stores, high-end boutiques, places I knew for a fact I hadn't shopped at. And there, nestled among the damning evidence, was a charge from the very brand of Lily's new handbag. My head was spinning. It couldn't be. Could it? Alex, my Alex, and Lily? No, it was too crazy. But the numbers didn't lie. That evening, I confronted Alex, my voice shaking but determined. "Alex, I need to ask you something, and I want the truth. Have you been buying things? Expensive things?" He looked at me, confusion written all over his face. "Things? What kind of things?" "Jewelry, clothes, handbags, for someone else?" I pressed, holding his gaze. His reaction was immediate and telling. He stuttered, his face going pale. "Mia, I don't know what you're talking about. Why would you even think that?" I could show him the lines from our joint account online, but I didn't do it. First, I had to get to the bottom of what was happening. I needed answers, solid proof of what was happening right under my nose. That's when I cooked up a plan straight out of a detective novel. "I'm heading to a cosmetology conference next week," I lied to Alex, watching his reaction closely. "It's a big opportunity for networking, you know?" Alex, ever the supportive husband on the surface, nodded. "That's great, babe. You'll knock 'em dead." His words stung, laced with irony, given the circumstances. I packed my bags, making a show of preparing for my trip, all while my actual plan simmered in the back of my mind. The day came, and I left, but instead of heading to the airport, I drove to a nearby hotel and checked in under a pseudonym. It felt like something out of a spy movie, except the ache in my heart was all too real. I spent a day in limbo, waiting, thinking, before I decided it was time to put my plan into action. Late in the evening, I drove back to our neighborhood, parking a block away to avoid detection. The walk to our house was surreal, each step heavy with the weight of my impending discovery. Lily's car parked outside was the first confirmation of my suspicions. I let myself in quietly, the familiar creak of the door now sounding like a trumpet announcing my arrival. The scene before me was as cliché as it was devastating. Alex and Lily, cozy and laughing over a bottle of wine, their intimacy a gut punch I hadn't been prepared for. Shaking with a mix of anger and determination, I pulled out my phone and began to record. The scene of Alex and Lily, so cozy together in our bed, would serve as undeniable proof of his infidelity. With the evidence secured, I couldn't hold back any longer. "Really, Alex? Lily? This is what's been going on?" I burst out, stepping into the light, my presence startling them. Alex jumped up, his face a mask of guilt and surprise. Mia. What? How? Lily, ever the cool one, just shrugged, though her eyes couldn't hide the panic. Mia, darling, this isn't what it looks like. I laughed, a sound bitter and cold. Isn't it? Because it looks exactly like my husband and my best friend stabbing me in the back. Alex tried to approach me, his hands outstretched as if he could wipe away the betrayal with a touch. Mia, please, let me explain. I stepped back, my resolve hardening. Save it, Alex. I've seen enough. And you? I turned to Lily. You're a real piece of work. Enjoy the bag? The silence that followed was deafening. Alex's excuses fell on deaf ears, and Lily's attempts at justification only fueled my resolve to end this farce once and for all. After the dust settled from the betrayal, I didn't waste any time mourning over spilled secrets. I hit the ground running, lawyer on speed dial, ready to untangle the mess Alex had left behind. The prenup my mom had practically arm-twisted me into signing was about to pay off in ways I hadn't even imagined. So, we're clear on the terms, right? I asked my lawyer over the phone. He can't touch the house or any of my earnings. The prenup's tight on that. Absolutely, my lawyer assured me, his voice a beacon of confidence in the murky waters of divorce proceedings. The agreement is ironclad. Plus, with the evidence of infidelity, we're on solid ground. Filing for divorce felt like ripping off a band-aid. Painful, but necessary. And with the prenup shielding me, I went for the jugular. Not only did I keep the house, but I also slapped Alex with a demand for financial compensation for his little escapade. The court didn't blink before siding with me. Turns out, betrayal comes with a price tag, and Alex was about to foot the bill. But I didn't stop there. Lily, the so-called friend who'd played me for a fool, found herself in the crosshairs next. I had receipts, literal and metaphorical, showing every penny Alex had blown on her with my hard-earned cash. So, I demanded restitution. The look on her face when she got served was worth every penny I spent on legal fees. In the end, Lily had to cough up an impressive sum, a small consolation for the trust she'd trampled on. Meanwhile, her husband, Jack, got wind of the whole sordid affair. He filed for divorce quicker than you could say adultery, leaving Lily to stew in the mess she'd made. When Lily tried to pin the collapse of her marriage on me, I couldn't help but laugh. Honey, if you're looking for the person who wrecked your life, grab a mirror. Months have flown by since the whole divorce drama unfolded. Life's got a funny way of moving on, even when you think it's gonna be stuck in the mud forever. Through the grapevine, I heard Alex had to skip town, drowning in debt after forking over the compensation he owed me. He never did find another job. Can't say I'm surprised, but I ain't losing sleep over it either. Now, I'm living a whole new chapter. I took the plunge and opened my own cosmetology office right near the house. Every day, clients come in, looking for a bit of sparkle, and I'm more than happy to give it to them. Business is booming, and I'm doing what I love, on my own terms. There's a satisfaction in that, a sense of achievement that no one can take away from me. My mom, she's over the moon about how things turned out. I always knew you had it in you, Mia, she'd say with that proud mom smile. You've got that fire, just like I did at your age. I had one of those heart-to-hearts with her not long ago, over a couple of cups of strong coffee. Mom, remember when you pushed for that prenup? Gotta say, that was a lifesaver. She just chuckled, sipping her coffee. Honey, I've seen a thing or two in my time. Always better to be prepared. It got me thinking about how life's full of these little twists and turns. You think you're headed straight down one path, and then bam, you're taking a sharp left into the unknown. But here I am, navigating it, making it mine. As I lock up for the night, I take a moment to breathe in the quiet of my little corner of the world. I've got plans, dreams bigger than before. And for the first time in a long while, they feel entirely within reach. Life threw me a curveball, but I swung back harder. Here's to new beginnings, to fighting for your dreams, and to standing tall, no matter the storm.